and welcome to the Drive and Double Feature podcast. I'm Nathan.
I'm Ryan.
And this is the podcast where we talk about two movies a week every Tuesday and Thursday. And this Tuesday, we are back at it again with John Carpenter movies, going through his filmography. And we are making a little detour because his next feature film would be The Fog. But we are going to talk about his TV movies, which this one is Someone's Watching Me from 1978. This one is an interesting one because I guess it was considered lost for a very long time. It was known as the Lost Carpenter film. And that's because it never got an actual release.
Where they find it?
No, not in some like a nut house in like Denmark
like
or something.
a castle or whatever like that. That one.
No, yeah, like a Passion of Joan of Arc, right? Was that? Yeah,
That was a
but that was
mental
like the full
asylum.
cut.
And then it was like I think there was another movie, Samurai Cop, that was found in like a weird castle or something like that. Or
Something like I don't know, was it Sam? It was something, but yeah, where they showed it to like someone or something. I don't know, but no, this one it just never got released. That was the big thing. It just kind of got circled around on bootleg VHSs, got a European VHS release, but it didn't come to America like a full release until 2007 on DVD. And so now we actually do get to have the joy of watching this John Carpenter movie, this early one. It is a TV movie, but it was written for film. He wanted it to be a film, but I guess things didn't really work out the way he wanted, so it went into being a TV movie. But I mean, TV movies in the 70s and 80s were not like kind of a dirty word. People did them. There were plenty of them. At least I don't think so. I haven't seen many in my life, but I mean, it seems like every director of that era did at least one or two.
I feel like a lot of like the TV movies back then, at least, it was a lot of like up and coming stars
Mhm.
or stars that weren't as popular as they once were. Like their star was kind of fading. So it was kind of like, well, you can do movies, but they're TV movies type of thing. Or like you or on like because if you look,
Mhm.
there's a lot of TV star like a lot of famous people that did do TV movies before
Yeah.
they went into like blockbuster movies.
Yeah,
Same with
and
directors.
yeah, same with directors. So it's not a bad thing. I mean, like Steven Spielberg, he started with TV and worked his way up. So
What did he do?
he made I'm trying to think of it. He made Always. Remember Always, the classic?
Oh,
Before
that's right.
Disclosure Day, it says like from the
I
director of Always.
from the director of 1941.
In 1941 and Always. There we go. And no mention of anything else. But this one stars Lauren Hutton, who is actually, I mean, she's famous in her own right. We've covered a movie with her before, American Gigolo. She had already been in movies at this point. She stars alongside David Burney and Adrienne Barbeau, who John Carpenter met while making this movie. And guess what? They got married. And
But she's a
eventually,
lesbian in this movie. How did that work?
I know, I know. I thought the same thing when I read it, but they got married, they got divorced in 1984. So who knows? Maybe it just didn't work out. She was trying. Uh, well, since you brought it up,
Adrian Barbeau got way too big from being in Swamp Thing.
yes, yeah, exactly. And she's just like, I'm a big deal now. What else? It looks like she was in Creep Show, Cannonball Run. We've covered her before, and we're about to cover her again in The Fog. Oh, in Grease. So wow, what a storied career. Everybody knows Adrienne Barbeau, but this one is I mean, it feels like just a direct comparison to Halloween, where it's a very simple. It's not. This one isn't a slasher movie per se. No one's dying, but it is a stalker movie. I've got someone watching me, just like the title says, and Lauren Hutton just kind of does things for the movie. So the movie opens with the looking out a window, and some other woman is being harassed by a man through over the phone, and she's saying, "I'm going to get out of here. I'm done." So she leaves, and that's kind of the start of this movie. And I guess it's supposed to set up that this guy's a creep, and whoever lives in this apartment, he's going to attack because this apartment's only for sale for single women, right? That's it. It's an apartment only for single women.
Oh, it's such a weird condition.
Yeah, no, I'm
It's like, you're not single? Yeah, get the hell out of here.
yeah. No, I just think it's a
How
little
like
goofy.
so like if she started dating David Bierney's character, like would she like have to move out?
Yes, I think so. Like if they finally like got together, it'd be like, all right, you gotta leave. You gotta leave your nice apartment.
We heard you have a boyfriend now. You gotta leave.
Yeah,
That's what the
but
landlord says.
yes. But anyway, she gets this apartment, she starts a new life, and she's a TV director. I don't know about you. I thought this movie started fine. I thought it had a pretty decent start. I liked Lauren Hutton quite a bit in the beginning because she's a very weird character. She is a super oddball character, one I wasn't expecting.
So I don't know if oddball was what I just
Okay.
would describe it as because I mean I know that's what they were going for is that she was quirky and offbeat, but like her whole deal is just like she likes to lie. She's just like
It's true.
she's that. So it's just like I'm like I don't consider that to be quirky. I consider that to be like a pathological liar, just not like like she's just like, oh yeah, like I she just make up like she'll just say like the craziest things. It's just like I'm so quirky.
That's
And she like tells this to people. She's like, it's just this thing I do where I just make up all these lies. Is that so funny that I do that?
it's kind of funny, but it's so funny because I didn't even think
They're-
about that. I was just like, yeah, she's quirky, but then you bring the truth. She's lying, Nathan. She just lies the whole movie. Like, oh yeah, you're right. Um, no, because yeah, that's true. That's the she tells the guy who's showing her the apartment like, oh, like something about like my mom controls my life, and I forget exactly what she says, but it's like says something about like someone dying and how overbearing her
Yeah.
mother is, and then she's just like, I lied. That was a joke. My life's normal. I'm boring.
Like you would never be who would be friends with a person like that? Just like that would just say like this like outrageous stuff, and you're like, oh my God, like you okay? Like, just kidding.
Just kidding. It would get tiring.
I
Like, you get one of those a year. You get like one or two of those little jokes a year, but she just drops it constantly. You get a little bored of it. Then you don't trust what she says. Maybe that leans into the movie. But she's new in town and she works for this TV studio, and that's where she meets Adrienne Barbeau, kind of becomes her friend. Which one of the most interesting parts of this movie was that Adrienne Barbeau is a lesbian, which for a 78 TV movie, I was like, whoa, and she's taken completely seriously. There's nothing weird about her. Like, they're talking about it. Adrienne Barbeau's like, I'm in the women. And then she's just like, and don't
I,
worry, you're not my type.
uh,
You're
oh yeah,
ugly. I don't
because Laura Hutton, she's just like, huh? Like, her eyes get really big. She's like,
yeah.
you're not my type. Don't worry. I like women who are honest.
Yeah, I can't stand you lying. But and then it's not really brought up that she's a lesbian either. I actually,
She's just a character that just happens to be a lesbian. It's
yeah,
not like made into like a personality trait or anything.
yeah, which I always like to see, especially for the 70s. I feel like that's pretty cool. So she's kind of doing her thing. Lauren Hutton goes to a bar, meets a guy who's like a professor. And I think they're already trying to set some red herrings, some people that it could be, right? Like this man she meets at the bar, it could be him. Because she starts getting calls. And they're not like super like breathing heavy into the mic calls, but he is kind of like, I see you, or like, I'm doing this and this. And he has the keys to her apartment and can sneak in at any time. So she's kind of a little off kilter from all of this. So it starts to build up and be a mystery.
Yeah, it doesn't make it like your typical where it just starts out like
Yeah.
like it doesn't start out like that type of thing where it's just like some pervert on the phone. It's just like the guys immediately they're just like it's like, oh, it's like he looks so good type of thing.
Hmm. Yeah, not nothing like that. And but also it's a TV movie, and I keep bringing up the TV movie angle because I do think that hampers this movie a little bit. I think Carpenter does isn't. I don't think he works that well under these under the rules that he probably had to, because I think this movie is very plain. I was hoping for something stylish and maybe a little better shot. And I thought this movie was very plainly shot. It was a very basic looking movie. I don't think there was ever a time I was really like, this stood out to me.
No, it's pretty by the book. I mean, in fact, I think they lean a little too heavy into like it almost feels like her being stalked is just like an aspect of her life. Like it doesn't
Mhm.
consume her life like
Mhm.
some other ones where it's just like oh, it's just like every waking minute she's thinking about this. And like this guy, I mean, granted, yeah, he is obviously a murderer and all that, but it doesn't really I don't really feel like the stakes really get escalated until like the very end of the movie.
No, because she's so headstrong, and I'm not asking for a woman to be like completely like helpless in this situation, but she's almost too unbothered by a stalking. Anybody at this point where you have somebody breaking in, leaving notes on things would be like freaking out, leaving and all that. But she's so headstrong, like, no, I won't let them make me leave. And then she goes and hangs out with her friends, gets drunk, and does stuff like that. And it feels like there's no urgency. Like I felt no urgency that this guy was ever gonna do anything.
No, and like I said, I don't need a helpless female character either. But it would have just been like some like a nice thing where it would have been like it starts just like ramping up more and more, like he's leaving threatening messages or
Mhm.
like just some like disturbing images. But again, like you said, this is a TV movie, so you kind of have to keep it. I mean, this is even before like TV how it is now. Like you could probably get away with a lot more back then,
Yeah.
but back or now rather than back then, because then it's just like, well, you can't really show a whole lot of blood. You can't really show somebody getting killed. You can't show any disturbing images because you got to keep it all pretty safe.
Mhm. Which is like overall, I personally this movie has decent ratings on Letterboxd, and I was surprised by that. And I will ask you, I thought this movie was very boring. I thought it was a very uninteresting movie for the most part. Just because of that, I feel like nothing really happens in this movie.
I had the exact same experience. I thought it clicked. I was kind of thinking like, oh, okay, like
Hmm.
it's got a decent pace going. I mean, I wasn't like in love with the character, but at least, she had a personality where
Yeah.
I could be like, okay, like I can at least determine who she is and everything.
Hmm.
But like you said, I, I, I just feel like it just became really like a non-factor a lot of times where it's just like, oh, she meets Paul, they go on these dates, or, it's just her working her job. And then maybe towards like the end of the movie, it starts like ramping up. Like I kind of thought it was pretty boring for the most part, where it was just I was just kind of like, okay, like let's get some type of drama going on here, but it didn't really felt a little very too little too late at the end for me,
Yeah.
where it was just like it just like even like what we did get at the end, I still don't think was like amazing.
No, I totally don't. And I even think like a movie like this lives and dies on maybe not lives and dies, but what helps it is giving like good beats to this mystery and maybe like building up who it could possibly be. But in the middle of this movie, the caller calls up Lauren Hutton, is like, "Hey, look outside." And then there's a guy, an older man who's looking through a telescope but is not looking at her. Well, we're supposed to think that, but instantly I saw this older guy taking care of his plants and I was like, and I didn't even look at the time and I knew we still had 30, 40 minutes left and I was like, this isn't the guy. It's just so easy to tell like that's not the guy. So like once again you think the mystery's done or it wants you to think the mystery's done, you know it's not. So that just ends up being a very boring part of the movie.
I recognize that guy too, the guy being the
Really?
guy that ended up. Yeah, well, if you ever watch Seinfeld, he was
Mhm.
a character on there, Uncle Leo.
Oh my God. Holy crap. I didn't even think about that while watching it. But I haven't watched a ton of Seinfeld, but I know who that is. That's actually cool. Uh which yeah, so like and honestly, I feel like they could have played him creepier and all that because he took photos. It seems like he was taking naked photos of women through windows or something like that, but wasn't stalking her. So he lost his pension, he lost like everything and got kicked out of his apartment and moved somewhere else. And almost instantly they discover like, oh, it wasn't him. So it was just very messed up of almost like a messed up situation.
Yeah. And the stalker too gifts her a telescope so she could look.
Yeah, the stalker gifts her stuff all the time, but yeah, gives her like a telescope almost like as a sick way to look back. I don't
He's like,
know.
look at the telescope. You could check.
Look, isn't it fun to stalk people? You should stalk someone. It's like a stalker chain. Um,
Hmm. Oh, it's like a multiple level marketing, or it's just like
yeah.
you start out as a stalker, and then if you recruit five other stalkers, then you get paid.
Oh yeah, I think so. And that's all he was doing was he was trying to because on it's like he has this weird guise of some vacation planning company and he sends gifts to her like swimsuits and like letters about the vacation company. It's just like another way to bother her, but the cops are useless. That's like the big thing. The cops are like, there's nothing we can do, ma'am. Ma'am,
He
there's not
hasn't.
he did
Yeah,
nothing.
he hasn't done anything to you, so you're fine.
So
And she gets in, like you said, she gets entered into that vacation sweepstakes where it's like, oh, like I can win an all expense paid vacation if I just have to guess where I'm going.
yeah, that's right. And I think Adrienne Barbeau is like, you do it, girl. Yeah, 6 month vacation, go for it. And she's like, no, I'm gonna throw this away. This is garbage. A 6 month vacation, that's a long vacation. I don't even know if I would.
I,
No, I do it. Yeah, yeah, I do a free 6 month vacation. What am I saying?
yeah, I would do that.
Yeah.
If somebody paid for me all my living expenses for 6 months and I can go live in somewhere other than here, yeah, sign me up.
Yeah, that's actually pretty good. But yeah, like I said, she meets up with Paul. Paul becomes kind of a detective. He's doing research and everything for that. And then one of the biggest scenes is Lauren Hutton finally breaks into the guy's apartment after she finds out who it is, breaks in, and then while she's in there, the stalker is back at her apartment, and Adrienne Barbeau is in there. And then over the walkie, she hears her scream, and then she's gone for the movie. And Lauren Hutton kind of has like she's dead, but she took a job in Fort Worth, so the guise is that oh she's on her trip right now.
We never find her body, do they?
No, they don't. And they never say what happened to her, right?
No, they never do.
That's actually
Um,
kind of sad.
they also do some investigating, like where she's just like in the parking garage, and you remember too, like she drops like a key, I think is what it is, or something, and
That's right.
she has to lift up like that grate, which she's able to do it like no problem. Like I don't know if you've ever tried, but you
Uh,
cannot lift up those grates at all. It's
yeah,
impossible almost.
yeah. I imagine that is not easy. I'm sure she wouldn't be able to. But
But
anyways,
I will say though, that is one of the few scenes that I liked is when she did remove it and she like you could see like the killer for like the POV of like the killer's feet because she's looking up at the killer, but she can't really make out the killer's face because it's just like she can't see because it's just like an upwards angle and the guy drops a cigarette and it lands on her and she's just like like types of
mhm.
thing.
There are some moments that do shine. Like there's a little moments that click. Like there is a final showdown where Lauren Hutton is in her apartment. You find out who the killer is, which it is. I remember his name Styles. He just owned the building, right? What was I wasn't even satisfied. I remember I've already forgotten what it was because it was like a giallo where it was like, who are you? What?
Yeah, no. Yeah, no. I it was somebody completely innocuous that just did not have any
Yeah.
bearing or anything like that. And it was just like at that point though, I really didn't care. I was just like, all right, let's get to the
Mhm.
final showdown. I want to see this, and then the movie will be over.
Yeah, to be honest, I know this would have been a little more obvious, but the guy who showed the apartment, I think it would have made a lot more sense if he was the one that was the killer. but I guess that'd be too obvious. I don't know. So they went a little bit of a boring route. But I do like the scene where they fight each other and he's pushed her out the window and they're like dangling. She's like fighting to stay up. And then he's like choking her outside the window and she's trying to grab a piece of glass. That is stylish. It's very Hitchcock almost, like close ups of the hand going to glass and everything. I thought that
Yeah,
was a really well done.
or or it was like a POV from like a couple of floors up from
Hmm.
where they were, and it was pointed down at the balcony like that was above them, and it was
Yes.
like an angle like that, and you could see like the street below. That was a nice angle. I like that one.
Yeah, see, and we can point these out because most of the movie is so static that it's just like, oh wow, we see something. But yeah, so what finally happens is like I that's right. She stabs her and then he falls out. And then that's it. I don't think we get an epilogue.
No, I mean she stabs him, and he's just like and he's like he falls forward, and she like basically like pushes him off the balcony, and he falls, and she's like, you got too close,
That's
and
right.
then credits right there.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean I feel like I skipped a lot, but personally, and I know it seemed like you felt the same way. I don't think this movie's bad. I just think it's very okay in like a boring way. It's just kind of like didn't do a lot. I think there's a good idea here, a nice stalker movie, and I think Lauren Hutton, she's good, and I think her character's interesting, but if it was an R-rated movie or something like that, we really could have pushed the envelope and made this something far more interesting. Far too muted here, and I think it just doesn't do enough interesting.
Well, it's a shame because I mean, like, I know they're kind of hampered as a TV movie, and
Hmm.
maybe, but I kind of feel like though, I mean, I don't know what the budget was on this one, but
Hmm.
Halloween is pretty historically like a low budget movie,
Yeah,
and that was also like a passion project for John Carpenter, and I kind of feel like so much more could have been done with this movie. Like it's just I don't, you don't even need like a bunch of grisly murder scenes or anything like that to make it interesting. It's just we've seen him actually shoot like a really nice movie. Like I said, Halloween is known for its like POV shots and a lot of really
hmm,
cool, interesting, like the score is like amazing in that movie. But in this one, it's just kind of like very uninspired. Like he feels like I mean, I don't know how he feels about this movie, but it kind of just feels like he's just doing this as like a paycheck type of thing.
yeah. So when I did look it up, this movie was only shot over 18 days, which is pretty quick. Um,
That is very fast.
Yeah, and according to him, and this is a quote from him, I had some control of it, some control over it. I was able to shoot only what I wanted. I wouldn't cover it. I just gave them what I wanted, and it got okay. I don't know quite what that means, but it sounds like it was kind of like I did what I wanted, but like it was, I didn't get to do much more than that.
I
Um,
guess.
yeah, but actually, so I'm glad I read this. He actually filmed this before Halloween. This was prior to Halloween. Halloween just came out before. That actually kind of makes a lot more sense to me. Maybe he took like what he got
O-
here and it kind of like was like, let's do Halloween a bit better.
Okay, well, that does make more sense then. I can kind of understand that.
Yeah, so that I'm glad that I saw that. Yeah, because that does make a lot more sense because it maybe does feel like a middle ground that's
Or
there.
maybe it's just like he like took what he learned from this movie and was able to take whatever good he could from that one and apply it to Halloween. That does make more sense.
Yeah. But anyway, I personally I wouldn't recommend this. I wouldn't say this is a John Carpenter essential.
No, this is completely skippable in my opinion. I don't. eh, If you're a Carpenter fan, this is you don't really need to see that. I mean, that'd be the only way you'd want to do it, just be a completionist, but it's completely skippable.
Yeah, I totally agree. But I do think that wraps it up for this one. So Ryan, what are we covering on Thursday?
Nathan, we are continuing the Godzilla saga. We are doing Godzilla against Mechagodzilla, which is streaming on Tubi and YouTube for free.
Awesome. I'm excited to watch that one. And if you want to email us at driveanddoublepeaturepodcast@gmail.com. And please do it. Please. Yeah, I would love to get an email from one of you. I'd love to hear from you. Or just comment in the YouTube comments if you're watching this through YouTube. I'd love to hear from you. Any recommendations. But until next time.
Until next time.